Their day off is done and gone, and now we're looking at the training grounds. We get to see the flavors of training, as well as how the various genin choose to work together. The sun has barely peeked out over the horizon, and we see Might Guy standing with his team. Rock Lee and Kiba are alert and ready to go, but Ino is still a little bit drowsy. Might Guy laughs and points out that it's still so dark under the shade of trees, he wonders if that'll slow them down at all. Kiba confidently dismisses the issue, stating that his nose can be his eyes even in the complete black. Rock Lee also takes the challenge on, that if he has to rely on his other senses, then that just means he hasn't trained his eyes enough. Ino just yawns, and Might Guy cheers their energy to distract the other two away from Ino's tiredness and onto him. He tells them that he's accepted them as his genin squad regardless of today's outcome, but wants to know just how good they are. As expected, Kiba and Rock Lee accept the challenge before it's even explained, and Ino lazily goes along with them. She's just unenthused right now. Their mission for the next 6 hours? Hit Might Guy just once. The sooner the better, the more impressive they'll be. He tells them that if their combined efforts can land a hit on him even once, then he'll know just how much he can rely on them, relying on each other. Without issuing the start of the game, Might Guy vanishes, and all three genins spin around. Kiba complains that he thought it would just be a straightforward sparring match, not that they'd have to find him. Ino tells Kiba to focus on staying still and smelling, and not talking, as she swipes the sleep from her eyes. She tells Kiba to report as quickly as possible, and for Rock Lee to act as the seeker for their team, to go where Kiba directs. Should Might Guy come into the open, Ino will keep him busy with ranged weapons so that Kiba can close in and they can pincer strike. The other two agree to her strategy, and Kiba quickly sets to finding Might Guy, though he's shocked at how quickly the scent seems to be disappearing, as if Might Guy literally teleported. But of course he didn't. He's just super fast. We transition here to Kurenai, as she inspects her genin, who have all dutifully shown up on time. She expected that maybe Choji would be a little slow to arrive or even a little sleepy, but he defied her assumption. She tells her team that she wants to see the best of what they're capable of doing so that she may better maneuver them on the field. It wouldn't be the wisest to go into a fight without knowing what her students could do at their best. Sakura seems uneasy at the upcoming practical test, and Kurenai knows her test results to reflect this shaky confidence. Meanwhile, Choji and Shino seem content with whatever's to come. Her challenge is for any one of them to successfully find her. A ninja must see through deception, but deception is also a ninja's greatest strength. To master either side of that statement would make one very strong in any mission. While standing before them, she says their first mission has begun, and Sakura chuckles a little, pointing out that Kurenai is clearly still in view. They've won at the very start. When Sakura goes over to touch Kurenai, she's shocked to find nothing but air, as the image of Kurenai evaporates into nothingness. Genjutsu. Shino tells them to stand back to back to back to keep eyes on all sides, and immediately disperses his bugs to find any concentration of chakra in the area that's not their own. Sakura mentions that imperfect genjutsu can have a visual warble, that if they look hard enough, they should be able to spot it. Choji complains that the darkness is going to make that practically impossible. Sakura pulls out 2 kunai and wire and ties the 2 kunai together. She hands 1 kunai to Choji, directing him to throw it straight ahead of where he's facing, while Sakura will match angle at a nearby tree. The wire between will act like a net to catch anyone who might be hiding behind genjutsu. They release their kunai and they spin away from their destination as the wire catches on something. All 3 rush to the invisible object caught by Sakura's strategy. As Choji slams a fist into the object, he groans and recoils as the illusion vanishes to reveal a thick wooden post in the ground. Illusions on illusions, they reform their positioning while Choji nurses a bruised fist. We transition again to Asuma as he stares intently at his 3 genin. Naruto is tired, but the 2 girls have come prepared. Asuma tells them that Lady Tsunade teaches her medical ninja to be light on their feet and agile to avoid taking damage on a mission. But he points out that if all ninja are agile and light on their feet, then the medical ninja wouldn't have to risk their own life to save others. Even against overwhelming odds, he expects all ninja, even genin, to be able to avoid attacks. He tells them that if he manages to land just 1 hit on all 3 of them, then this training will have to be a repeat one until they can get it right. Additionally, once he strikes someone, they can no longer help their team in any capacity. He tells them that he will restrict himself to basic ninjutsu and taijutsu for the training, but that in a real-life situation, they won't be afforded such mercy. He dives in immediately with a very fast but soft punch to Hinata's stomach. Asuma clarifies that the enemy won't wait for them to be ready, so they can't let their guard down. He tells them that he'll give them a freebie so Hinata can continue to participate for now. Straightening, Asuma takes out a cigarette and lights it, noting that all three are now staring up at him, frozen like stone. Distance is key, he warns, taking a mock step forward and all three jump back. As Naruto leaps backward, he forms several hand seals, and as he lands, he holds the last hand seal to delay the jutsu. Curious as to what kind of defensive jutsu he could be planning, Asuma jumps towards Naruto, and just as he's about to strike, Naruto finishes the jutsu and vanishes, reappearing where Asuma was just standing, one of the Hokage's daggers spinning on Naruto's index finger. Smirking, Asuma looks away from Naruto and aims at Hinata again, the closer target. As he swings at the unexpected girl who's clearly not so familiar with the flying Raijin, Tenten kicks his fist away and retreats with Hinata. Brandishing basic kunai, Asuma turns his attention to Tenten, who pulls out her own. Instead of running, Tenten seems to think offense is the best defense. Perhaps she recognizes that flight from such a powerful foe is impossible. On the other hand, maybe she doesn't recognize their difference in strength. He looks back to Naruto, who is now gone, but Genin are sloppy and make a lot of noise. Worst case scenario, Naruto has abandoned his teammates, and while Asuma dons kid gloves and attacks Tenten, he wonders how he would punish such a cowardly act. We transition finally to Team 7. All three Genin are ready to go, and Kakashi shows up late. I like to think that Kakashi is just hiding somewhere to see how they talk to each other without a Jonin present. It would certainly be important for discovering how Sasuke and Neji treat each other, if they even trade any words. Shikamaru yawns as he looks at the sunrise, wondering what they could be doing so early in the morning that doesn't seem to have any kind of reliance on time. Sasuke greets Shikamaru and grunts at Neji. Though Neji nods a silent greeting to Shikamaru, he just ignores Sasuke and both stand on opposite sides of Shikamaru. Shikamaru recognizes right away what a headache it'll be to have to put up with this hostility all the time and hopes that Kakashi has some sort of plan to sort them out. How can he rely on them if they can't even talk to each other? Roughly 20 minutes pass when the ground shakes slightly, followed by a distant thudding sound, and they see a plume of smoke rise out of the trees nearby. Though they think to investigate, Kakashi arrives at last and tells them not to mind the noise, as other Leaf Shinobi are close. It's one of the other three teams. He brings them to his own little training grounds, and yep, you guessed it, it's the bell challenge. He tells the team that there are 2 bells, and it's up to them to gain possession of both. Offense, defense, any trick they can muster, Kakashi allows them any means necessary to get their hands on the bells. He pulls out his book and casually flips through the pages. As they've arrived at their training a little late, the sun has risen just enough that most of the open area is lit, a disadvantage for Shikamaru. This group doesn't bring up the conundrum of 2 bells versus 3 genin. Sasuke and Neji either understand the assignment or don't care about the consequences. Shikamaru gets the point. Though Shikamaru tries to take time to survey his surroundings, Sasuke tries at an all-out assault. Much like in canon, he makes several deft moves and manages to touch a bell, and as Kakashi distances himself, he backs into Neji's strikes. Forced to dodge, Kakashi instantly regrets pulling out his book. Throwing the book into the air, Kakashi utilizes the fox stance, deflecting Neji's precision strikes and using the momentum of his attacks to execute a shoulder throw, sending him towards Sasuke. Kakashi catches his book and quickly puts it away, as Sasuke leaps over the fallen Neji for another assault. Utilizing a quick tiger strike, Kakashi catches Sasuke between the ribs, thrusting the air from his lungs. As Sasuke stumbles backward, Neji pushes him out of the way and throws another assault. All this time, Shikamaru has fled to nearby bushes to study their combat safely. Of course, Kakashi is noticing the immediate aggression between the 2 boys, also that Shikamaru is the only one acting as a shinobi should. Back to Team Guy, we catch a glimpse of Kiba shooting out from the trees and popping back into the form of Akamaru, barking to the real Kiba at the opposite tree line. A ball of fire chases the puppy as my guy exits the woods behind. Leaping over the fire, Rock Lee dives in with several wolf strikes, knowing full well that the instant kill method of the tiger form would be wasted on someone so strong like Might Guy. All Lee can do is stall for time. Lee's strikes start pushing Guy back toward the tree line, but a few appropriately spaced shuriken from Ino force Might Guy to change direction. True to his word, he doesn't even try to block strikes, but the moment Rock Lee turns his back after a flourish, Might Guy uses the opportunity to throw Rock Lee toward the occasional shuriken or kunai still being thrown. As Kiba charges free from the fireball, Might Guy throws up a small mud wall to hide his actions from Kiba, but the latter blasts straight through the wall. Might Guy backsteps and stops, looking around, his form relaxing. Rock Lee is on his left, Kiba in front, Ino behind him, unconscious. When Might Guy threw Lee, the Taijutsu Genin used the inspiration to throw Ino into a more opportune position. Releasing Might Guy, Ino wakes up and he congratulates them on passing the test. He's impressed that they were so quickly willing to follow Ino's instructions, and when those plans fell apart, quickly adapted a strategy to keep him on the defensive. At no point did he see Ino tell them her part in the plan, but it must have taken some quick words for Rock Lee to understand his assignment at the end. He flips them his classic thumbs up and encourages them to keep working as a team like that, and they will never regret a mission's outcome. To Kurenai's group as they're continually and more quickly spotting and dispelling her illusions. Sakura picks up on the style of genjutsu Kurenai is using very quickly, and alters their plan from defending in the open to cover and changing hiding spots often. Sakura gets them to leave a clone behind every time they change cover to keep Kurenai guessing if at all possible. While Choji and Shino are willing to leave a clone behind as bait, Sakura quickly finds that her chakra runs out faster than theirs. Shino signals to them whenever his bugs locate a concentration of chakra. I like to think of Shino's bugs acting like a radar screen, where they're spaced enough that you technically could slip through the cracks, but often if they've pinged you, your whereabouts are found out. Shino points in a direction near the forest's edge, and Sakura swaps bushes as she throws a kunai in that direction. Something clicks for her and she points Choji in the exact location, who conjures a fireball to launch just beyond the position and runs to where she initially pointed. Mind this rough depiction to show what I mean. He feels clothing rustle as his fist goes through the air and Kurenai suddenly appears in front of them as she narrowly avoids the passing fireball behind. She grins at Choji, who is visibly proud to be the one to unveil her. Shino's bugs are so small that it actually impressed her how effective they were not only in locating her, but then communicating back to Shino in such a short time. Additionally, Sakura was dispelling her genjutsu almost as quickly as she was making new illusions. The illusions were certainly very basic, but it's still impressive to repeatedly spot them and find their weakness that reveals them. The giveaway at the end was when Sakura threw her kunai, and as it flew past the shade of the trees, it remained cloaked in Kurenai's own shadow, something that basic genjutsu is unable to erase. She compliments their combined intuition, and Sakura tells her that it just felt like one big puzzle. It hooked her in right away. Shino remarks that if he were able to make a thicker blanket of sensor bugs, he would have found her much quicker, that he still needs to improve. Kurenai tells him that everyone always needs to continually improve, but he shouldn't look at what he has done as weak. It's no mean feat to best a Jonin, even when they're taking it a little bit easy. Transitioning to Asuma, we see that Hinata's out of the game, but Tenten and Naruto are still in. Tenten has nearly emptied her arsenal of weaponry trying to keep Asuma at bay, and Naruto has remained hidden since he initially vanished. Asuma has only been entertaining Tenten's feeble defense in hopes that Naruto will show his face again. Troubled that the boy would actually abandon his team so easily. Patience wearing thin, he suddenly charges Tenten and gives her a soft push to her back, nodding his head to the side, silently telling her to sit with Hinata. Turning around, he surveys the woods far more seriously than he was ever intending to initially. Finally, he spots Naruto sitting high in the foliage of a tree at the very edge of the training grounds. Annoyed, he doesn't simply charge the boy, but leaves a shadow clone behind as he leaps high over Naruto and launches a great fireball at the ground below, over the tree Naruto's hiding in. Naruto sees the fireball at the last second and executes his flying Raijin to reappear a little too close for comfort beside Asuma's shadow clone, where he had left his Namikaze kunai. Asuma grabs him by the collar and lifts him into the air, maintaining a blank stare but feeling disgust that Naruto left the others behind. "Fail," he tells him, throwing him to the ground. He asks Naruto why he abandoned his teammates, and Naruto explains that the mission statement was to avoid being struck at all costs, not protect your teammates. Asuma tells him loudly enough for it to be a lesson to the girls as well, that the fewer members a squad has, the exponentially less likely they'll succeed whatever mission they've been tasked with. It's utterly stupid, reckless, and heartless to abandon your teammates. He tells his team that every morning at the same hour, if they're not on a mission, they're to return here to continue this training until they do succeed. Not only did Naruto abandon his team, but Hinata didn't help at all. If not for Tenten, the team would have failed the assignment in seconds rather than 20 minutes. He tells Naruto that the fourth will hear of this performance, turning Naruto's disappointment to fear. A child's fear of getting in trouble, but fear all the same. To Kakashi, he's been utilizing mostly taijutsu and at last has created space from all of them, allowing him to throw some balls of mud at Sasuke and turning from that to a flood of water at Neji. From the forest, a needle of concentrated shadow suddenly juts out and Kakashi leaps away from it. While he's flying in the air, he electrifies his hand to conjure light, and upon landing, holds it close to the ground to hinder Shikamaru's shade. One hand occupied now, he's forced to fend off the other two with just one hand. However, when he looks up, he sees Sasuke and Neji fighting each other. Sasuke is disadvantaged with no dojutsu versus Neji's activated. They're shouting obscenities at each other as Sasuke's speed allows him inside Neji's strikes. But Neji's trained defenses keep Sasuke at bay all the time. Kakashi yells at them to stop, but they're too caught up in each other's energy. The training grounds has lost all meaning, and Kakashi signals for Shikamaru to stop his strategy so he can split up the other two. Turning serious, Kakashi quickly incapacitates the other two and ties them to the posts. "You think this is fun and games?" Kakashi yells at them, perplexed that they could let their petty squabble turn into such a skirmish. "I don't care if you hate each other's guts. You do this out in the field and we all die." "Well, it doesn't matter. Apologize to each other," Kakashi orders them. Taking a breath, Neji apologizes, and after a few more seconds, Sasuke follows suit. Kakashi asks them how he can ever take them on a mission if they can't act civil around each other. They're both Leaf Shinobi fighting for the Leaf. Needless to say, they've failed as well. We get glimpses of some of the genin going home to receive their parents' criticisms. Neji and Hinata both wince at the verbal lashing they receive from Hisashi, disappointed that neither of them could properly complete a mere training session. Naruto tries to avoid his dad when he gets home, but who can outrun the fastest shinobi? Minato is softer than maybe he should be, telling Naruto that though his solution to the mission was clever, it was ultimately not very wise. Naruto admits to knowing that, and was hoping for an easy victory. The fourth tells him that there are no shortcuts to greatness. The only way to prove yourself is by facing danger head-on sometimes. On the flip side, he tells him that Asuma was impressed by his execution of the Flying Raijin, a marked improvement over the level Minato thought he was at. Sasuke isn't afraid of anyone from his clan giving him a talking to. Though he has an assigned guardian in Teiyaki Uchiha, he rarely has parent-like interactions with him. His clanmates behind closed doors are perpetually upset with something the village is doing. Instead, when he arrives home, it's to the celebration of his clanmates, hoping to hear how much of a beating he managed to deliver to that spoiled Hyuga kid. Desperate for that sense of family, Sasuke indulges in their requests, exaggerating on a lot of what really happened just to hear them roar with laughter. At the end of the night, Sasuke goes to his room and lies down on his bed, looking through his window at the starry sky above. The smile from the night's retellings fades from his lips, and they part to reveal clenched teeth, as Sasuke's faux joy turns to anger. We get a slow zoom out, and he's clearly frustrated at his day. The fourth would be disappointed. Itachi would be disappointed. His eyes dilate and turn into single Tomo Sharingan. And that's the end of part 5! A quick note for the ending, he did not unlock his Sharingan there. He unlocked it during the massacre just as in canon. But he didn't use the Sharingan during the training grounds because his Uchiha pride wanted him to beat Neji without it. Equally, his Leaf pride didn't want him to fight at all, but once that first fist was thrown, he just couldn't stop himself, almost like his blood compelled him. So I don't want to go into ultra detail for the combat portion of things. I hope that what I've done here at least kept a little to the imagination. The reason for this is because I don't want this rewrite to last 1,000 episodes, and adding specific dialogue or extreme detail to every scene will make exactly that happen. Additionally, I view these teams as a spiderweb that begins at its center. The further we explore the story, the less they'll all be bunched together in a video. But that still leaves some at the start, with all of them involved in one way or another, even if just slightly. Next episode, our Genin will be sent on their very first mission. It's going to be fun to finally get the grand plot rolling. But who am I kidding? It's been fun writing these last 5 episodes too. Just fun all around. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it, because with this rewrite, the sky's the limit.